Good afternoon, everyone. It's Miss McCorkle, and this is Semester 2, Video 2, Theory Video 2. So today we're going to start out with just a quick review of what we started last week. We started learning about the order of the sharps, and we learned that the C major scale doesn't use any sharps or flats, and the G major scale uses 1. The D major scale uses 2. The A major scale uses 3. Okay, so we did the C, the G, the D, and the A for today. Now, let me review. This is the sheet that I had you look at, just the side that has the sharps on it. So let me put that up for you. Okay, so we said this first one at the top, it got cut off. It should say C major scale. No sharps or flats after your treble clef. That's how you know that's based on the C major scale. Now when you go to the next staff, you see that it has 1 sharp. And if you count up, you can tell what sharp it is. Every good boy does fine. That's an F sharp because the line goes through the center of the box. So we know that's an F sharp. The next scale that uses 2 sharps still uses the F sharp but adds, and it's a space, F, A, C. So we have an F sharp and a C sharp when we play the D major scale. And the last one that you did for today was the A major scale, and it uses 3. It keeps the F sharp, the C sharp that you had, and then it adds the G sharp because G is above the F line. F, C, and G. And that's as far as we've gone so far. The C scale, no sharps or flats. The G scale, 1 sharp. 2 sharps is the D scale, and 3 sharps is the A scale. Now we're going to work on that for a little bit, and we'll do a little review and so forth before we talk about any new material. All right, so let's look on the board. I have written out the order of the sharps, and make sure you have this written in your workbook. Fat cows go dancing at every ball. Fat cows go dancing at every ball. So when we look at the order, there's the F for fat. Fat cows go. Fat cows go dancing. So then we are adding a D as in the next scale, a D sharp. That's as far as we're going today. Now I'm going to show you a new way to figure out the name of the scale as long as you know the order of the sharps. Okay, so make sure you've got this memorized. Fat cows go dancing at every ball. Okay, that's called the order of the sharps. So if you don't have that written down in your workbook today, make sure that you do that now. Fat cows go dancing at every ball. Now while you're writing that, I'm going to erase this so I can show you some new material. Okay, hopefully you just memorize that the C doesn't use any sharps or flats. The G has 1, the D has 2, the A has 3. But in case you forget, for some reason you forget, this is what you can do to help yourself remember the name of the scale. Okay, so I'm drawing my staff, and I'm closing it in with bar lines, and then I'm going to put my treble clef at the beginning. Okay, right, so if I ask you what scale uses one sharp, as long as you know fat cows go dancing at every ball, all you have to say to yourself is, what's the very first sharp? F for fat. Fat, F sharp. So if I have a scale that uses only one sharp, I go to that last sharp. Well, it's only one here. So if I find F sharp on the piano, and I go up to the very closest note, a half step above the F sharp, it will give me the name of the scale. So what scale uses just one sharp named F sharp? It's the G scale. So the G scale uses F sharp. All right, now let's do the next one that has fat cows. So we're going to draw in a C sharp. There's my F, I already have that. And F, A, C. We're going to put this space note, C sharp, here. Notice that when I do my F sharp, I do it here. Then I go over a little bit to do the C sharp. When I do the next sharp, which is a G sharp, I'm going to go over a little bit so that you don't have them right under each other. They have their own place. Here, then I go over, over, over. Each time I draw another sharp, I move to the right. Okay, so here's the rule. You go to the last sharp of the number of sharps that you have. Well, we have two. So the last one we just did was C sharp. So let's find it on the piano. Here's C, here's C sharp. In order to find the name of the scale, you just go up to the closest note, a half step higher. You're right. So then the scale that uses two sharps, F sharp and C sharp, we went to the last sharp, C sharp, went up a half step, and that note is D. So the D scale uses two sharps. The G scale used just one sharp. All right, we're going to do our next sharp that you did for homework. F sharp, C sharp, and then comes my G sharp up on the top of the staff. So we always go to the last sharp. We said it's a G sharp. Fat cows go. There's my G sharp. So here's G. Here's G sharp. Let me do it down here so you can see it a little better. Here's G. Here's G sharp. So you go to the last sharp, there it is, the G sharp, go up to the closest note, which is A. So the name of the scale is A. How many sharps does the A scale use? It uses 3. What are their names? Fat cows go. So this is my F sharp, C sharp, and G sharp. All right, now let me review those scales for you so that you make sure you're playing them both in the right and the left hand. Now, we didn't write the C scale, but we can. We'll put the C scale right here. It doesn't use any sharps or flats. No sharps or flats. All right, so if you're doing your left hand in the C scale, you start with your pinky. Use all 5, then cross the 3 over. So now you position yourself near your piano or your keyboard, so as I'm going through the scales, you're playing them with me. There's your 5 on C, D, E, F, G. Third finger crosses over, A, B, C. Now my right hand starts on a 1 and only plays 3 and then goes under. When we put them together, and then we go backwards. And that's my chord progression. Chord number 1, number 4, number 1, number 5, 7, and number 1. Now, don't forget that you have a sheet that has this on it. So let me pull that sheet out and remind you to look at it when you're playing and practicing. You're going to have help. As long as you look at this sheet, it's going to be in the bass clef here for your left hand numbers on the bottom, and then just play it in the right hand with these numbers. But here's your left hand chord progression, and they have the fingering written out and they have your notes in order. So make sure you take this sheet out and learn your chord progression for the C scale, the G scale, the D scale, the A scale. Those were the ones we were supposed to work on for today. So keep working on those. They just keep getting better the more you practice. And then we're going to add one new scale, which will be the E scale, and it has 4 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and our new sharp we add this week is D sharp. Okay, so let me write that down. We've got an F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, fat, cows, go. Now let's add our new sharp for this week, and it's going to be line 4, and it's a D sharp. Now don't forget, if you go to your last sharp, here's my D sharp. If I go to that last sharp and just go to the very next note, that note will tell me the name of the scale. And the name of the scale that uses 4 is the E scale. Okay, so those are the ones you're going to practice for this week. Make sure when you're practicing, okay? So let's say we're going to do the scale that uses 1 sharp. The G scale uses 1. Well, I've got to know how to get to G quickly. So just count up from C, C, D, E, F, G, and that's how you find your name of your note to start on quickly. Always start with your C, C, D, E, F, G, and then put your thumb on that note. Then your paper gives you the fingering for the left hand. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross the 3 over. Now that's the G scale with just 1 sharp. If we're doing the scale that uses 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp, go to your last sharp, that's C sharp, and go next door and it'll tell you the name of the scale. That's my D scale. The D scale uses 2, F sharp and C sharp. So when I play the right hand, remember, you have 2 sharps, F sharp and C sharp. D, E, F sharp, thumb goes under, G, A, B, C sharp, D. And then you do that in the left hand, starting on the D right beside C. Remember 2 black keys, D, E, F sharp, G, A, 3rd finger over, B, C sharp, D. And you practice these as we go through the video. And then your chord progression. Make sure when you do your 5/7 chord, you have that C sharp on the bottom, and your 1 chord has the F sharp in the middle. So make sure you have those sharps when you're playing your chords. Now, there is another sheet in your folder. Let's see if I can find it here. Yeah. It just spells it out. It's easy for you to see. It has the right hand and the left hand and the fingering, and it has the C scale, the G scale, and the D scale written out for you on that page. So you can use that if you're having any trouble with fingering. Don't worry about this one on the bottom. It's a flat scale, so we're not doing flats yet. But this is the new sheet that you can use this week to help you with your fingering. Okay? I also want to remind everyone of a good hand position. I've had to talk to a lot of folks about keeping that nice curved hand position like a tennis ball is underneath. So when you're playing, don't play with flat fingers. Play with a curved finger with a penny on top so that penny won't fall off. My hand doesn't move around, and my fingers, I'm playing on the ends of them. And I pull it back to the edge of the key. So you're going to work on that this week, working on the edge of the key and the ends of your fingers, not flat fingers. We're not playing like this. We're playing with our hand curved. And when we're sitting with a nice straight back with good posture. Okay? All right, now I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to give you a little quiz. And we'll see who does a great job. So you're going to write this down in your workbook. So make sure you've got your pencil and your notebook paper in your workbook ready. And you're going to answer this question. Get my board back up here. Here we go. Okay, I'm going to draw a key signature. Well, first I'm going to draw my staff. It has 5 lines, and I put my bar lines at the end, and a treble clef at the beginning. And now I'm going to draw a key signature. That's that group of sharps that comes after your treble clef. We call that our key signature. You probably need to write that in your book and get that word learned for me. The key signature. You know, we have some numbers that go right here, like a 4 over a 4, because that tells us how many beats we have in every measure. That's called our time signature. Those numbers are our time signature. But the next little section where we have the sharps is called our key signature. Okay, so I'm going to draw a certain number of sharps, and you're going to tell me which scale uses that number of sharps. Now remember, you can go to the last sharp, go to the half a step above it, and it'll tell you the answer. All right, so my first key signature is this. What scale uses 2 sharps? What scale uses 2 sharps? Write that answer down for number 1. Remember to go to the last one, the last sharp. Find it up here. Go to the closest note to the right, and it should give you your answer. What scale uses 2 sharps? Say that order of sharps if you need to. F, C, G, D, A, E, B. Fat cows go dancing at every ball. All right, number 2. We're going to say, what scale uses 3 sharps? Well, you go fat cows go. So we know this is F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, fat cows go. If this is G sharp, find it, there's G sharp, go up a half step, that means the closest note. So what scale is going to use 3 sharps? Write your answer down for number 2. So the first question was what scale uses 2 sharps? And the next question was what scale uses 3 sharps? And our last one, we're going to add our new sharp today. Fat cows go. Yes, that's a D sharp because it's dancing. Every good boy does. This is a D sharp. So you go to your last sharp in the order. There's the D. There's my D sharp. Go up to the closest note to the right, and it will tell you the name of the scale. What scale uses 4 sharps? It's the E scale. That's your new one for homework. All right, now watch my hand. I'm going to play E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D sharp, and end on E. So 2 sharps side by side here, and 2 sharps side by side here. But we don't play that 1 sharp in the group of 3, the last one. And that, my friend, is the E major scale using 4 sharps. F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, and D sharp. Fat cows go dancing. Go to the last sharp, D sharp, raise it to the half step above, and it will give you the name of the scale. All right, don't forget that's your key signature that we're working on. We're just adding that one new scale, the E scale, this week. So continue to practice the C scale, no sharps and flats, the G scale, fat, F sharp, the D scale, fat cows, F and C, sharp, the A scale, F, C, G, fat cows go, and the one new scale for next time is the E scale, 4 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp, D sharp, F, C, G, D. Those are your new, that's your new scale on all your new information. Practice the old scales. Practice your scale that I gave you last week. The little warm up. That's my favorite. You'll have fun playing that. Well, I hope you have a great week. I look forward to seeing you at your lesson this week. Have fun with scales and chords. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.